Okay, here am I. Good afternoon, all. My name is Mimma. In the world, I'm known as Erminia in Adevinta, but only there. I discovered Agile about 10 years ago and found it immediately as the way that matches my vision. Uh, I worked a lot of time in a big Italian TLC company for about 25 years. So I'm quite old, an elder woman. And 7 years ago, I joined Subito, where I am the Scrum Master. Something about me. I am apart from the job. I have a big family. I love cats, reading, cooking, trekking, and traveling. I think that these are important things to be someone also outside of the job for a Scrum Master. Uh, I propose today a potpourri of topics. All of those are related to my experience and the experience of other Italian Scrum Masters with whom I met in the last 10 years. I'm Scrum Master since 10 years. These are thoughts, observation, experiences, sometimes provocation, and some advices when I show you how I did. An explanation about the title. Di palo in frasca is an Italian phrase that is used when someone talks about something and suddenly and without any logic maybe changes subject. What I thought about making this talk, I thought about making a raffle whose items are several topics and skip from one to the other thanks to the raffle. But I changed my mind after having tried the tool, and this is being agile. And so I asked in several channels some interest about these topics, and these are the topics, the ones that are enlightened, the other topics that were most voted. Obviously, I want to speak about all these topics because time is important, and when it's over, it's over. Therefore, maybe one or two, depending on the time we have, I will talk you about Scrum Mastering, then communication, then game, and if we have time, what we can. If you want, you have a QR code linking to a Jamboard where you can add some what you think, suggestion, objection, and so on. But we will have also the 5 last minutes for question and answers and any discussion. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So let's go. Sorry. Okay. Let's go to the first topic, Scrum Mastering. I started with this because I am a Scrum Master, and for me, acting as a Scrum Master is something like being between a wise Zen and a religious person. I feel like all the personas that were illustrated in the previous talk. The issues stays in the help. So the Scrum Master is someone that helps the team, helps the company create complex product adaptively, creatively, happily, and effectively. I didn't add the efficiency because efficiency is not the most important thing I think. I felt that my teams sometimes didn't want to be helped. and that's okay, because no problem. They don't want to be helped, and that's not the problem. Scrum Master, being a Scrum Master is something, a sort of tightrope walker job. You are in an equilibrium between yourself, the product owner, the team, the company, and Scrum. Your life is somewhat somehow an equilibrium one. As a Scrum Master, you are a host leader. You are a host, maybe a leader, but you are a host. And how your team feels and performs must be your major worry. You must observe and ask for feedback. Giving advices or rules is not the case, even if it is requested. What may teams need from their Scrum Masters? A lot of things, maybe. I asked several times to my teams for feedback, and these were the ones I received. For instance, remind us about something, moderate more, don't be too, how I can say, fantasiosa in Italian when doing retrospective, and so on. And asking for feedback and receiving it is the most important activity for a good Scrum Master. And then checking for outcomes of the action that I decide to put in action when I try to respond to this feedback. Not all feedbacks I respond to, but they are important for me. What I tried in order to help my team. For instance, sometimes Scrum and the utility of Scrum, usefulness of Scrum is not understood. So if you do Scrum, it is important that you understand the whys of rules, not the rules, but the whys of rules. For instance, what is the benefit of blind them? And this is crucial, because if it is not clear about the why of rules and about the benefits of events, of responsibilities, accountabilities, you risk to fall in a cargo cult Scrum. What I did, for instance, I wrote down some mind maps because I understood, I had I suspected that something about events wasn't clear. And for some times before every event, I discussed with the team about goals, output, how the events were had to be done, should be done, but mainly about the goal, because how it's on the team. The goal is the only important thing. Other thing that you have to do is help the team self-organize. The team is most effective when it can self-organize. The Scrum Master should not organize or manage or teach the team, but help them doing it, which means also protect the team from external actions. And so we can have some tools, for instance, the Kanban board. It's a good tool that help the team auto-organize. And definition and visualization of common working agreement help too. Clarification with the rest of the company about what self-organization is can help protecting the team. Scrum Master's job is also a service to the company. So, as an agile or Scrum expert, a Scrum Master can spread their knowledge around the company and uh, listen, so that people can make their opinion and understand how it works. Uh, you don't have to teach to think that you are right, they aren't ignorant, because okay, there are unbelievers, there are hostile people, there are victims, people that think that Scrum hurts them, and there are agnostic people that are not interested in this. Not losing the North Star is the life jacket for any Scrum Master. Being agile means mainly, in my opinion, responding to change. So consider as a Bible the Scrum Guide, but understand that not everything must and can be applied by the book in every situation. I started 10 years ago like a Scrum Nazi, and I think that everyone, when it is at the beginning, maybe it's better do things by the book. But I became as an agile person, very interested in what is the Agile Manifesto, what is the Scrum Guide, but what is the environment where you are, and what are feelings and situations you are. So keep in mind the whys. This is my advice. Keep in mind the whys of the rules, and do not adopt them as if they were dogmas. Look at the 5 values of Scrum more than at rules, and start from where you are, building your path toward what the team, the company think that they are okay. What cannot be suspended, in my opinion, is the Agile Manifesto. It contains no rules but principle, indeed, and this is what cannot be loose. Keep the compass firmly at north, also about yourself. So don't stop to appreciate the yourself, no matter what other people are doing to you. And that's all about Scrum Mastering. I'm looking at the time because, as I told before, we can skip and go to another completely, or not completely, but tied topic, which is communicating. Communicated. Um, Knowledge is a property that must be shared. Must be shared. Communication and knowledge sharing is vital in any organization. Communicating effectively is an art. First, some advices that I can think about. Do not think that your knowledge is yours and only yours. In a company, knowledge is a company property, especially in a company. So not sharing it is something against everyone's interest. Second point, do not think that other people aren't able to understand what you know and what you want to communicate. It's your duty finding the best way to pass your message, and and to keep the message of other people. Third, remember that it isn't important to convince others. You maybe aren't right. You maybe can change your mind, because what's important is sharing different point of views and possibly finding common actions. Communication is an exchange, not a broadcast. This is something that I noticed a lot in several companies. They communicate like a webinar, and it's quite difficult to listen. You don't have also to only to talk, but you have to listen a lot in order to communicate. As a Scrum Master, I've shared my knowledge with team members and with the whole company, helping them understand how Scrum works, what being agile means. And I tried a lot of means. And here you can look at some of my outputs, presentations, Google Sheets, Google Sites posts on Slack channels and in Confluence. These are the features I provided. About outcomes, sincerely, I don't know, because I received not so many feedbacks indeed. Feedbacks are something that I would like to receive more. I like to give feedbacks every time someone asks me for feedback. I'm really happy to give it, but I lack somehow feedback from other people in my company. Visualization, which means I use presentation, okay, to the whole company, to the teams, to whatever is interested in. A powerful means for communication is visualization, because human beings are better designed for visualize than read and listen. I use visualization a lot, mental maps, evocative drawings, colors, and this is because I hope that this can help people understand and reason better. What I see actually is that the good old narrative document is the most used means used for communication. And this is a pity, because a lot of communication gets lost in written documents. So shapes, drawing, colors, I think are more effective, the most effective means, and maybe more effective, even more effective, is having direct experience. The hands are the part of the body that can help explore and understand better. Even for adult humans, yes. Having the possibility to touch and manipulate objects stimulates our brain and creativity. This may seem odd at workplace, but I assure you it can be really powerful. I tried sometimes, and apart from the fact that not a lot of people participated, but it was really effective. It's a matter of imagination now, because in these times we are in isolation, and this is quite impossible to have hands and to touch. I'm wondering about how maybe it could be done, and I will try and find surely some way. What which other means I try? Sometimes it can be useful to provoke by using metaphors on the storytelling. I notice that these kinds of jokes at least have reactions, because you are maybe exaggerated. Okay, this is important that you with your body explain that you are telling and saying something really exaggerate, but while being correct and respectful. So maybe I speak about death when I speak with about estimates. Estimates are versus oaths, or sometimes I try to be ironic only in order to how can I say, to wake up the audience, because often in the workplace people think that they have to be very serious. This is the case, but we can also have some jokes. As a Scrum Master, you can the team also with a lot with visualization. We told it before. That is that you must draw somewhat in some time, or spend time finding the right visual representation for your team needs. You could write long description, or you can draw. Often drawing is the fastest way to communicate, and especially when maybe you are helping people during a conversation or a discussion. You can fix point on the board, and this is really effective. Um, do not fear drawing, because we are not painters, but maybe no problem. The important thing is to communicate. So also an ugly drawing can have a good result. Now we are in remote, and a lot of means for communicating. I already said something about this. Are difficult, are impossible. So when you are remote, communication is difficult because you lose any kind of body language, and you must find tools that aren't physical boards, post-it and pens, because you haven't. I was in my office on last Friday in order to take my personal stuff away, and I brought home all post-its and pens, and a lot of things that I used with my team, and I was quite sad about it. But what I was thinking is, okay, maybe I won't use this stuff anymore. I don't know for how much time, or maybe never. But I have to find similar tools, because individual and interaction over processes and tools. So post-it are tools. I have to find something better, different, um, for continuing to communicate and help and facilitate teams even in remote. Tools for remote, maybe they are not so easy to be used, they are expensive, they are not safe, so you can't use them in the company. What I tried to do with my team, I use Jamboard, okay, Meet, Miro, shared Google Docs. What I miss most is the possibility to look at people, because it is important to notice their reaction and guess their feeling. And if you don't have an eye on the feeling and the body of people, empathy is really difficult. Empathy is one of the most important quality and skills that a Scrum Master should have. But this is really complicated because people, at least in my company, don't like to show themselves. We don't have good connection, and we don't, for instance, maybe show our kitchen or our bedroom or where we are. This is something that we should take into consideration. Sorry. Another question, another issue, sorry. When we are talking about communicating, is when you use a different language, a language that is not your mother tongue. And this is complicated. In this moment, this is complicated for me to trying to speak without reading or without in Italian. Okay, we say abbraccio. It is complicated both for you and both for whom you are talking to, because it's not a matter of language proficiency, vocabulary, grammar, accent, or pronunciation. When you speak to people, people who have grown in your country or culture, you can count on a plethora of figures of speech. You can use the country culture, which is important. You can use a lot of images, pictures. In a different situation, you must abandon this expression that are often very communicative for people who share the same culture because of evocation. I noticed that during meetings where people don't speak their native language, communication is somewhat impoverished, because I try to be very clear, very simple, because it's better to build the sentence with subject, verb, and an object. While, for instance, while I'm using my mother tongue, I can be more imaginative, how can I say. So to be effective, oral conversation should be accompanied by visualization and writing. We Italian are maybe is easiest for us because we use a lot of gesture. When I speak with some teammates which are not Italian, they are really freezed, and the concentration in order to understand what they are telling me is really difficult for me, and I think that for everyone. So another thing that must be taken into consideration is when we talk with people that aren't our mother tongue, be very, very patient. I think that the time is finished. We have 7 minutes, but I think that we could stop here, because the next topic could have been playing, but we don't have more time anymore. And okay, let's have a QR time. And maybe I will have a look at the Jamboard offline. If you have
Yeah, that was me.
Thank you, Per.
I know how it feels.
Yes, so, I know. It's quite difficult for me speaking in a language that is not Italian, even if I try.
Definitely. Let's wait for other questions. Come on, people, don't be shy. Seems there are not more questions. Well, there's a little bit of delay, around 20 seconds, since you speak and it reaches to the people. Let's wait for a bit. I think one question is coming.
So the question, you speak about my team. Does it mean that your role is like a manager, or you could feel like no? When I speak like when I speak my team, I tell my team, I mean I am in the team. I can't be a manager as a Scrum Master. I don't want to be a manager in my life. My team is like are my teammates. I'm my companions. I am an host leader. Being I don't know if anyone knows about the concept of host leadership. Host leadership is the one that is the host of the party. So it isn't the leader, it isn't the manager, it is the person in charge of letting people being at their ease. So preparing everything and looking around, noticing if there's something that can be adjusted, or if there's someone who can need help. This is my point of view about my team. My team are my guests. What does a funny mean as a misunderstanding? I don't have a look at the.
I think it was related to the question before, being a Scrum Master and being a manager.
Okay, yes. In my experience, in some company, they try to tell to the managers to make have the same duties of the Scrum Master. So, for instance, they tell, okay, the Scrum Master isn't necessary because all what the Scrum Master does can be done by the manager. But this is very, very risky, in my opinion, because the manager is a manager and the Scrum Master is a Scrum Master. Scrum Master cannot be what are your top 3 books about the Scrum process? So, Scrum Guide. This is not a book, but this is a Scrum Guide. This is the Bible of Scrum. And at the moment, I don't have. There's a very big book about Scrum that I can find, and Pavel, I will send you the title, which is something like a manual with different topics, and you can browse the book when you need to go deeper with any topic, any issue you have. I will maybe. Yes, there's the one of Sutherland making in less time. I don't remember. I don't remember the title, but I don't like reading books about Scrum. about Scrum. Yes, the Scrum proper process. Let's have a talk.
Okay,
Okay, I
then
think we are done.
exactly, we are done
Okay.
with the time, and right now we have 15 minutes of break, and after that we will
Okay.
continue on this track with the Agile Growth Matrix story, a talk that Joanna and Eric from the Barcelona Hub are going to do here. So see you in 15 minutes.
Bye.